This is the Blackout podcast.
Welcome to the Blackout podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people doing awesome things, and I'm happy to have Kyla, someone I've been dying to talk to for now, but she's always busy, man.
I am.
I'm always busy.
Quite busy, yeah.
So, Kyla, give us a bit of background about yourself.
There's so little to say, but so much to say at the same time. I'm a makeup artist, I'm a model, and I just do a bunch of other stuff here or there. I'm just a big creative person, so I like to just do whatever I can do to create cool shit. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing though, with makeup, I'm gonna break each one now. So let's start with makeup. Mm-hmm. How did that start for you?
How did it start?
Yeah.
Well, when I was very young, I really wanted to be a makeup artist, and then I kind of put that on the back burner. I ended up wanting to be a event planner for a while, and that's what I really wanted to do. But then I was just working a crappy kitchen job, just slaving my life away, and I got to a point that I was like, I need to do something. I had dropped out of high school. I don't even have my grade 10. I only have 2 credits. So I was like, I need to do something. So I just applied to a school in Vancouver and saw what was going to happen. And I was 19, so I was able to apply as an adult student. So you don't actually need your high school or your GED.
Oh, okay.
Once you're over 19, at least for this school specifically. So I lucked out and got a college education with no high school. So that was great.
And why did you decide to go to this school in Vancouver? Is it like a special makeup place?
Well, when I decided to become a makeup artist, I was like, I'm not going to go, no offense to Hair Design Center, they put out great artists and stuff, but I was like, I want to do crazy stuff, I want to do prosthetics, I want to do a little bit more of that kind of thing, and I decided I just wanted to go to the best makeup school in Canada, so I Googled #1 best makeup school in Canada, and I went to the one that popped up first. So,
what's the school called?
Blanche Macdonald Centre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I really loved it there. I had some really incredible teachers and really supportive class. I really lucked out. We had a really great group of girls and one guy. Yeah, so it was really cool.
Oh, okay. How long were you there for?
The course was a year, and I was there for about 1.5 years, with the move and everything.
How did you find Vancouver?
I love Vancouver.
Why?
Yeah. The ocean. That's why I love it here too. There's a little bit more to do there beach-wise. Just it's easier to get to the beaches because you can kind of transit to them. Here you can only really transit to Chocolate Lake, which is fine. But
wait, Chocolate Lake is this one? Where's Chocolate Lake again?
It's past the Rotary.
Yeah, by Herring Cove.
Yeah,
is there anything? It's just like a tiny little.
It's
lake.
a tiny little lake.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's some cars in the bottom of it. I'm pretty sure they actually have to put chemicals in it. I'm not sure how true this is. This is just a rumor that I heard that they actually put chemicals in Chocolate Lake so that people can swim there because there's so much stuff in the bottom. People just throw crap in there.
Oh no! Why would anyone put their car at the bottom of the lake?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So Vancouver was great. Did you do any work there while you're out there?
I didn't work there. I actually went back to Vancouver after I was working here. I was working in the film industry. I came back, and then they took away our film tax credit.
Before the tax credit, so you finished in Vancouver, you came back.
Finished,
Did you get straight into work?
So yeah, I dove right in. My first, the first thing I ever worked on, on my own, kind of in film, was I had a pickup day on Noon Gun.
Oh yeah.
And then through that, I got a few daily days on Lizzie Borden and got my first assistant job on a feature film, and since then I've just been going from there. Thank you, Lindsay Thorne, who is the one who made the calls, who got me those first few jobs, because she's super amazing and talented, and I wouldn't have my career without her. So
Okay, here's the thing though. You have to be in the union to work, right? Or
there's it. You do have to be in the union to work on a union production.
on the union. Got it.
Yeah, and like union makeup artists, we only have a small amount, so if there's not enough people on the members list, you're able to hire outside, and that's what I think happened on Lizzie.
Okay.
Lizzie was a union production, but I was able to come in as a daily because there was no other union members available.
So what does a daily mean?
A daily means that you just come in for the day, like they just need an extra set of hands. You're usually on big background days. You're usually just doing like a lot of tattoo cover on background extras. Lizzie Borden was a lot of facial hair and because it was a period piece, so just making people look like they are from the period that.
Got it.
It's supposed to be in.
And then how long between when you came back from Vancouver and doing those things did you get on IATSE? You're a member of IATSE now, right?
Yes.
So IATSE is the what does this even mean?
International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees is what IATSE stands for.
And I know there are two, right? Like with different numbers or something.
Yeah, so I'm IATSE 849, that's the film technicians union, and then there's the camera union, and I forget what their number is.
Oh, okay.
But so there's IATSE, and that's just for camera, and then there's the film technicians, so that would be like sound, grips, electrics, transport, craft, hair, makeup. I'm definitely forgetting some, but it's a big list of people.
Yes, a lot of people. And being part of the union, what are some of the advantages? And are there any disadvantages of being in the union?
I haven't experienced any disadvantages. We're really lucky, I think, in Nova Scotia because we have such a small industry that my department is amazing. I love every makeup artist in the department, and I'm happy to work with any of them. So that's really great. I don't know if in bigger cities that I'm sure is different when numbers get bigger. The advantages of being in the union, though, is basically you have someone to have your back if production isn't treating you properly. So there's like you have your base rate of pay, so you're never going to be paid less than what that is. They're who provide us with like overtime, make sure like if we have meal penalties, like if we don't get fed when we're supposed to, you get paid for it, stuff like that. If anything happens like on set, it's someone like it's just something there to kind of to be able to talk to and like report something to if there's an issue or anything. And the other benefits of it are that it just it makes you able to get work. So you're just on a list that people can look at, and your resume is there and everything. So it's how you get your jobs. Yeah. And I also have like medical benefits and all of that, which is really, really cool as like an independent artist. Yeah. Because that heavy set bag that you were carrying earlier does a number to my shoulders. Yeah, I definitely use those massages. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like, but it's not like.
Oh, no,
what are some of the things you must have in your bag?
Some things I must have in my bag. On set, like for a film set. So I always have like a little emergency kit that would have like, it would be like a mini first aid kit that has like Band-Aids, alcohol, styptic pencil, like anything, liquid Band-Aid. Also, what else is in there? Bug spray, sunblock, like anything that if you're out on location you might need. And then I also will always have an alcohol palette, which is a kind of pigment-based palette that you mix with 99% alcohol, and then it becomes waterproof. So it will become a liquid, and then it dries when the alcohol evaporates, and then you're able to just, like, it's, like, sweat-proof and everything. Wow. So those are super handy to have. I use those for tattoo cover all the time. They're really great if someone has, like, a little scrape or something to paint over. What are other things? I mean, there's so much, honestly, that I carry. Kleenex, sponges, I'm basically gum. I'm basically just the person on set that is like, someone's like, do you have this? I probably will have something like that in my bag.
Okay.
So whether it be cast or just a friend or like
Are you
coworker.
always on set? Like right on set?
Yeah, generally I am on set. If there's a cast member on set, a makeup artist is going to be there. But generally I would have, on like a union production, a lot of times we have pre-calls, so we actually come in before everyone else with the actors, get them ready, so at call everyone can start working and get their jobs done. But that doesn't always happen on low budget things. You don't always get pre-calls and stuff, and you have to kind of figure that out. But
Right on,
yeah.
Okay, so you came back from Vancouver. Lindsay, Thorne, got
Oh yeah, we kind of went off.
yeah,
on
got
a
your
ramble
this
there. Yeah.
calls. And then how long did it take you to join the union from when you came back?
I think it took me a year and a half to 2 years. I was really, really lucky, and I somehow got you need 720 hours.
So you worked a ton.
So I worked a lot, and I just really lucked out. I had a lot of good people around me who were supportive, and I worked my ass off. Is also an important part of it.
720 hours, holy
Yeah,
smokes.
and I think they just changed that. I don't remember what the number is, but
Higher
I
or
think
lower?
lower. I think
Oh,
they
okay.
made it lower.
Yeah, because holy smokes. I mean, especially, but then before, actually, let's go back. So you had to leave when the tax thing happened.
The film tax credit. So yeah, I was here, I was working, the film tax credit got taken away, the industry died, and I was like, well, I literally am in my like first year or 2 years of work. What am I going to do now? Like, I want to keep working in film, so I decided to go back to Vancouver. I had one day on set. I had a daily day on Van Helsing in the prosthetics department, and that
the
was
series.
Yeah, the series that was on Netflix, I think. Yeah. So I had one daily day there, but the issue with being in Vancouver and like moving there is you don't qualify for their tax credit because you didn't pay taxes in BC. So it's like harder to get hired because people don't want to hire you if you're not if they're not gonna get the tax credit from you. But Vancouver's so busy that it doesn't super matter. Like, they do eventually need people. But then I had the opportunity. I got a call from a dear friend of mine, and he was like, hey, like, this show's coming here and they need makeup. Can I give this woman your email or whatever? And I was like, yeah, sure. And it was for The Mist. And Tracy Loader, she sent me a little email, and we talked back and forth, and I got to work on The Mist, so I just came back because I was like, I'll come back home if I have work. So I came back, and my family's here and stuff, so, and I love it here. So.
Did you grow up here?
Yeah,
Okay.
I grew up like deep North End, Halifax.
Where, you know what? Where does North End start and stop?
It changes depending who you talk to. So, like, some people would consider this the North End.
Exactly.
I don't. Like,
Right?
I don't consider, like, this part of Gottingen Street really the North End. I would consider this more central, but that's just, like, one of those things. I say it starts, like, I think the Hydrostone and, like, Yonge Street and down Almond Street and the, like, Bloomfield, all of that area I consider
cool.
North End for
Yeah.
sure. And when I say deep north, I mean like up by the NSCC Leeds campus and stuff. And I grew up like right around the Hydrostone too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how's it working on The Mist?
The Mist was a lot of fun.
How many days were you on that?
I don't remember. I was on a lot of days. I was only a daily, but I was in at least 3 days a week for a lot of it because it was a huge cast. But yeah, I worked a lot of days on that one. And working on The Mist is actually when I got into the union. That's what like
because
got
you
me
had
my...
a ton of hours there.
Yeah, well, I started the process as I was
then-
working on it, and I collected my like last however many I needed.
Yeah, okay,
but
okay.
there were some long shoot days on that show for sure. Big
Lots of
cast,
overtime?
lots of background. Yeah, lots of overtime. Yeah.
Were there any problems on the shoot or
Not
for the
that
mist? Oh, okay.
not that I like really know of specifically, or that I can remember from our end. It was just long and hard. Lots of people. Lots of people to be processed. Lots of background. Lots of making people dirty and look like they've been trapped in a mall for days. And yeah.
What are some of the things you do for the people that were in the mall?
That was mostly it. Like it's funny, the amount of real makeup that I do is very little in comparison to the amount I like dirty people up and make them look like crap. Yeah, people love to write movies where people get trapped places and don't have access to showers. So like it was basically just like the hair department would just like put some coconut oil and oil in people's hair and just make them like you just basically had to keep, as time goes on, you just have to make them look more and more like crap. But like good crap.
Yeah.
Like you want to cover that pimple, but we're gonna put some dirt and grease on you too. Yeah.
Okay. Was Miss the biggest production you've been on?
No. I worked on The Lighthouse. I was also just a daily on that.
Wait, did you go all the way to...
Yeah, I was actually only there for parts of the... Oh, no, that's a lie. I worked a little bit when we were in town, too. But I went down to Yarmouth. My mom lives in Yarmouth. So I went down...
So did you stay at home or use...
I stayed at home. I could have had a hotel room, and I decided to stay with my mom.
Yeah.
And it was really great. So that was super fun. So I basically just got to visit with my mom for 3 weeks and then got to work sometimes. I would get that shoot was crazy. So I would just get daily calls like at like midnight the night before and just be up for 5 and have to go in. So that was a crazy shoot too. But like I said, I was just a daily. So I didn't really experience the same as like some of the other crew members who definitely had like a wild time on that show.
And it was also a period piece, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What are the things you had to work on that set?
That I can't talk about.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
It's okay.
But like, isn't it coming out isn't it going to Cannes?
It's going to be in Cannes, yeah.
Okay, so, fuck, man, when is it going to come out? Because everybody that working on that thing can talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I can't talk about. The Mist I can talk about because we've all seen it.
Because it's done and blah, blah, blah.
On Netflix. It's good.
Yeah, but I've not seen the show. There's some people that don't like it. I don't know for some reason why. I've not seen it yet.
The Mist?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my favorite show.
Oh, you've seen it?
Oh, yeah, I watched it. I watched parts of it. I don't know. It's cool. It was like it was at the time like one of the biggest things I had worked on. So it was kind of exciting to watch it, but it wasn't my favorite show. It's not really
How does it feel when you kind of watch a screen and you see, I made that person look like that?
It's a weird feeling. I did makeup for a billboard ad once, and I saw like my makeup on a billboard, and that was wild. And so that was like kind of my first experience of being like, holy crap, like that's my work like on a big billboard. That's exciting. And then as film stuff started coming out, it's been really neat to kind of see, but it's one of those weird things where like I'm so critical of myself, and by the time something like you work on a show, it goes to post, like it doesn't come out for like a year or two afterwards. So you look at it and you're like, oh crap, like I would have done this differently. I would have done this differently. Like I know how to do this better now. Like, so it's really weird because I'll watch it and I'll be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then I'm also just like going over in my head more and more like you could have done that better.
Yeah.
But that's just my annoying brain, just like putting myself down. But that's just something that I do. That's like how I keep my drive for just always learning, right? I find with any art, you have to continue like learning. There's no stopping. Like once you get to the top, there's nowhere to go but down. My friend said that the other day, and it was like so true. It like really resonated with me, because like that's just how you have to look at it with most creative endeavors, is like there's always a way to like improve what you're doing, and there's always new techniques and new products coming out. Like for me specifically, there's always new products. There's so many new products constantly that it's like a real learning curve, because some new things come out and you really have to figure that out. But then it's so funny because with film, there's some like very old school techniques that you'll just like hold on to forever. So it's like really being able to pick and choose which ones you're like into. So
do you have friends that you practice on?
I mean, not so much anymore.
Because, you know, I'm sure most of them like, hey, practice on me. Cause
yeah, I try and keep work life separate from like my personal lives and stuff. I mean, that being said, my roommate's also a model, so if she gets called to do a photo shoot, I'll generally do her makeup, because then I'll have a photo for my portfolio. We just moved in together, and we were joking that like my entire portfolio is just going to end up being her now, because like I'm just going to be doing her makeup all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I forget what I was saying.
No, I was asking about friends. Saying,
friends, right? Yes, friends.
Put the makeup on me.
Yeah. So I don't like. I'm always happy to help out and stuff, but I don't really like. I don't mind if my friend asks me, but it's also my job, so I don't really like to just like hand it out for free. But like, I am totally the girl at the bar who has a bag full of makeup, and will be like, "You need more highlight," and like put more highlight on people, or share my lipstick or whatever, which is gross, but it's fine.
What if okay, no, I'm not gonna ask that. Then the modeling, how did that start?
Oh, modeling.
Yeah.
So I had my first photo shoot when I was 17, and I wasn't trying to be a model. It was just me and my friend Stu Metz, who is a local Halifax character. He had just started doing photography.
Yeah.
This was like way back. He's a super good photographer now. Does a lot and works a ton. But yeah, we just met up, and I used to hula hoop. I used to be one of those girls at the Commons that would like hula hoop in the sun in the summer. Back in my hippie phase, and
Okay. You're not a hippie anymore.
I'm not a hippie anymore, no. But I definitely had a little hippie phase there, and yeah, so I got him to do kind of like a hula hoop photo shoot for me, and I had a lot of fun with it, and then it just kind of went on from there. He was like, "Do you want to do that again? Like, that was kind of fun," and I was like, "Yeah, that was super fun," and then we just kind of kept going, and I guess started really liking it, and other people started asking me to shoot. So yeah, that was neat. And then I've never been signed with an agency or anything. I've never wanted to specifically be a model like as a career. I don't super like the industry. The modeling industry. It can be a dark place. It's so shallow, and I wanted to be like, if you're with an agent, like you have to ask or not ask, but you have to be like, can I get this tattoo? Or like, I'm getting this tattoo, and your agent will be like, no, don't get the tattoo. And like, if I want to change my hair color, stuff like that. So it's like, you're basically like, you're selling your body. So I didn't want that, and I didn't want someone telling me I was too fat when I'm a size 6 or whatever, because I was a size 6 like when I was younger. I'm a little bit smaller now, but like, that's still ridiculous to me, right? Like, I don't think that's like a healthy way to be, so I just never wanted to be a part of that. But I do enjoy creating like images and things like that, so.
But then that's kind of the photos thing. How do you start working on runways?
How is it working on runways?
Yeah.
I love runway. It's super fun. It's a thrill. It's a lot of hurry up and wait, just like the film industry. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like to be able to just walk and feel really powerful and feel really badass. And we have some really incredible designers here in Nova Scotia. It's wild. And it's Atlantic Fashion Week. It's actually all the Atlantic provinces. So we have people come from other places as well. So you get to kind of see some other like really cool indie designers, up and coming people, stuff that you wouldn't typically see. And it's really great. But like, yeah, runway is basically you just all get called to a room where you all sit together and get your hair and makeup done and then just snack and like take selfies in the back until it's showtime.
So here's the thing though. The show starts say 6, 7, whatever. What time do you get into the venue to set up to do your makeup and stuff?
It depends on every show, but they usually bring you in like very early. So Atlantic Fashion Week, I'm pretty sure the show starts at I don't remember what time it started at. I think it starts at like 8. But they usually bring us in at like noon or 1. Like there's
What?
But like for Atlantic Fashion Week, it's literally like hundreds of models that have to get hair and makeup done. And like each designer has a different look and some of them are pretty intricate a lot of the time. So like you need a lot of time.
Okay.
So that's why it's a lot of hurry up and wait, is because you have to get there. Usually what I do is I'll go early, like I'll go at call, get my hair and makeup done, and then go and like get some food or something like while I'm waiting for the actual show to start, and then come back in, get a touch up right before I go on stage, and then.
Okay. With the Atlantic Fashion Week, do you just work for one designer or? Oh, okay.
No, yeah. So last season I walked for 7 designers.
What?
The season before that I think I walked for 8, but it's
how
fashion,
many days is it though?
Yeah, it's Fashion Week, so it's usually about 4 days,
Okay.
4 or 5 days, and then
And
you
then-
have a certain amount of designers each night.
Yeah.
There's usually an intermission, but it can be very, very hectic. So, like, there was one show specifically this year where my designers were walking one right after the other.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to like skip the final walk. So at a runway show, there'll be like you each go out one by one. And then at the end, the designer walks out with you and you all do it. So sometimes you have to skip that final walk because you're already changing for the next show. And depending where you are in line, like the designer always has their outfits in a specific order to come out on the runway. So if you're closing one show, if you're the last model for one show and then you're like the second model for the next one, you have to really boogie to like get into your next outfit. And some of these outfits like aren't easy. Like some of them are
What's the
pretty
most uncomfortable one you had to wear?
Most uncomfortable. I don't think I've ever had to wear anything uncomfortable. The thing that I had to wear very recently, actually, in the tooth and nail, I walked for a designer for the tooth and nail fashion show for NASCAD, and it was this really beautiful, like, copper wire dress.
Oh, shit.
But it was hard to wear because it's very delicate. My foot totally went through it on the runway. Like, it got hooked on my shoe.
Oh, man.
And, like... You didn't notice. You didn't notice.
Here's this one. There's a sometimes, right, when the model is on the runway and they fall. If they get hurt, who's to not blame? Like, who's responsible for that? Like, is it a model? Is it the company making the thing?
It would depend. It would completely depend on the show and what caused the model to fall. So, like, if you're walking for a designer who designed shoes and you fall because your shoes don't fit properly, then that would be the designer's fault. But it could be a venue fault thing if, like, a huge thing that happens actually all the time for most fashion shows is you want to have, like, a nice floor to walk on, but that usually means it's really slippery when you're wearing, like, stiletto heels.
Oh.
So we have to, like, buff the bottom of our shoes so that our shoes don't slip around.
Wow.
And stuff like that. So... Just little tips.
Yeah, I didn't even think
Tricks of the trade.
Yeah, I didn't think of that because, okay. So because there was a thing that happened a couple of weeks ago. This model fell down and died.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe, there was something else, but it was...
I mean, it's one of those things that's it's like any job, basically, right? So, I'm sure the venue or, the person putting it on has insurance, so therefore they'll be taken care of or whatever, things like that. So, but yeah, if a model falls, it would be the same as just anyone falling. You don't know what would have caused that. And I don't think it's fair to put blame on anyone when an accident like that happens. You know what I mean? No one wants to hurt someone. You know what I mean? So, that's my optimism coming out. But
that's what you hope.
Yeah, but it's generally, unless it's some rival model who wants to. Which is totally a thing. It's a very competitive industry.
Actually, is there a hierarchy in the?
Not so much here, but I have a friend who models in China, and she's beautiful. She's so amazing. But when you model internationally, you generally will live in a model house.
What?
So that would just be a house or an apartment, a complex that has just different bachelor apartments, and it's all models that are with the same agency.
Yeah.
And that can get really bad really fast, just with people being catty and people getting you end up going up for the same jobs. One girl gets it, the other one doesn't. Yeah. There's all this competition, so it can be a really negative environment as well. That's what I meant earlier when I said that I never wanted to be with an agency. I never wanted to do that professionally, because it takes a lot out of you mentally. You have to be such a strong person to be able to do that job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Things I didn't think of. And how do oh, sorry. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, how do you handle, well, not you, but just in general, the nudity aspect of it? Because, you're changing out of outfits 5, 6, 7 times. You're not always...
Yeah, you don't... Nudity... You become so desensitized to nudity. I'm so desensitized to nudity. It's you literally are I've had to run across the floor, run across backstage, completely naked, from literally throw off one thing, throw it at the designer, run across the room, throw something else on. There's no, you just deal with it.
And then which do you prefer, the walking or the photography part of it?
They're different. I like different things about both of them. Mm-hmm. I like runway because it's more of a live performance, whereas there's an audience and a crowd, and that's a different type of adrenaline rush than a photo shoot. And it depends on the photo shoot too. Some are really fun, and then some are boring.
What makes a photo shoot boring for you?
It depends on the job. So if you're doing something that's more catalog, or something for you're just trying to sell clothes for a lookbook, you're generally not going to be able to do something cool and crazy and editorial. They just want you to show off the clothes. Whereas if you're doing a crazy shoot, a makeup shoot or something, it would be very tight on your face. So that could get boring in a sense of you're not using your body at all. You're literally just looking around a room and people are taking pictures of your face really close up.
Yeah.
So it's all the environment is always going to be fun generally, because I like to work with good people. Because I like the environment to be fun on shoots or whatever. But it's just basically, I like to challenge myself when shooting. That's why I like working with Steve Richard a lot. Steve Richard is an incredible photographer, incredible local photographer. I've been in a book of his, and I've been in quite a few different projects he's done. And we had to do one where we were underwater. So
wow.
that was super challenging and like super fun.
What was challenging about it? I mean, other than being underwater, but...
So the thing that was challenging about it is basically like your body wants to float. Like there's very few people. There was a few models who somehow could sink. Like it's not really something that anyone knows. Like I never like researched it or anything, but it was very much a thing where like some models could sink, but some couldn't. I couldn't sink.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, like when I'm trying to like stay underwater, my body would keep floating up. So you'd have to like use different weights, like anchor points that were in the bottom of the pool, and like hook parts of your body onto them, but make it look like you're not hooked on. Like hook like a toe, but like not. So that was challenging. And then also just holding your breath for X amount of seconds.
Yeah.
I was a heavy smoker at the time. So that was very hard. Yeah, you basically like had to wear a nose plug, and you had to just be as still as possible because you didn't want any like ripples in the water. He has a whole bunch of behind the scenes actually of all of making this book. It got turned into a book called Obscuro.
Oh, okay.
So it's fantastic. Yeah, and there's a bunch of behind the scenes footage somewhere that I can probably find you.
Yeah, I'd like
if
to
you
see
want to
that.
take a look.
I'd totally like to see that.
Yeah.
So you do the makeup thing, you do the modeling thing. Has someone, a director you worked on, like, you have a good look for somebody I wrote a part for. Do you want to check it out, or have you done any acting?
That's how I got into ACTRA.
So what happened?
Was literally just I'm an apprentice member in ACTRA right now, but it was basically just I did background when I was like 18, just like to try it out on Mr. D. I think it was like season 1 or season 2. And so I did that, and that was my first experience ever being on a film set, like ever, was at that time. And it was...
Wait, like as an actor or makeup or just in general?
Just in general. I had never experienced like the film world, and then one day I just decided to sign up with Hennessy Casting and did background on Mr. D. I was 18. I looked like a kid. They needed students. So I did it, made some extra money. That was super cool. But then flash forward, I start modeling and I go to makeup school and start being around set more. And then I'm just kind of getting thrown into the background sometimes because people like they need a background person or whatever. And then one day I was working on this web series and I was background on it. I had
what
been
web
doing
series?
Everyone's Famous.
Yeah, I want to say it was that one. I've not seen it, but there was an episode I saw with, I think it was Corey Bowles, and
yeah, probably.
Like it was a weird episode.
It's a weird web series. It's very weird. But it was fun to work on.
Yeah.
So Lindsay Thorne, who I mentioned before,
Yeah.
she was the key makeup on it, but there were some days she couldn't work, so I would do makeup on it. But then some days they needed background, so I would come do background and like hang out with my friends. It was fun, just like a fun little day and make some extra money.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the background for a funeral scene at a church, and a woman came up to me who was directing the episode, and it was Sheila Lane from Filmworks, and she gave me her card, and she's like, I want you to audition for me for Mr. D. So it kind of like was funny how it came around full circle, where that was my first experience ever on set, and then I was just on set doing background one day many years in the future, and I ended up auditioning for Mr. D. I got the part. It was just like a day player. My character name was Attractive Woman. So, the real big times. But forever immortalized as Attractive Woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I did that, and then just do random things here or there. I have done a lot of like photo double stuff, just kind of because I've been around and happen to be the same size as an actor, so they like throw a wig on me and do stuff like that. So yeah, it's handy being an actor and also working on set because sometimes you get to double dip. And
Yeah. It's actually something you'd ever take serious. Like, actually be the number one on the...
No, I don't think so. No, I love makeup. Like, I love doing makeup, and I love doing prosthetics, and I am starting to get... I finally have my makeup studio in my house set up, and I'm going to start, like, doing more prosthetic work and stuff, and it's just, that's what I want to do. Acting isn't specifically something that I really ever want to train for. Or...
So, I mean, if someone just said, oh, man, this part is for you and stuff, and you're number one on the call sheet, you would say no?
Oh, I'm not saying I'd say no, but it's not like I'm not going to go to like theater training.
Got it.
Like, but like I had an audition the other day because I got a message that was like, hey, your name came up in this meeting. Would you like to audition for it? And I was like, why not? But like, I hate auditions. They're so terrifying. They're like because like a model call is fine because you don't have to open your mouth. Like you don't have to do anything. You literally just walk in a line in a bikini. So I guess that's hard for some people, but for me that's easy.
Yeah.
It's as soon as I have to open my mouth. Like even this right now is like very hard for me because I'm not like a big talker. I hate my voice.
Yeah.
I think I sound like a nerd. It's just super funny. So yeah, that's something, but it's something that I want to work on. That's why I do something like this. That's why I will go to the audition because like, why not?
Yeah, why not?
You know what I mean? I'm not going to miss out on a cool opportunity to do something just because my anxiety is in the way, which I let get in the way sometimes. But for things like this, I try and fight through it.
Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then on your social media, especially on your Instagram, you're super about feminism and about support for sex work. What does that mean? Why are you so passionate about that?
I'm passionate about it because I just think that it's important. It's not even just like feminist. I totally identify as a social justice warrior. Like when people use that like negatively against people, I think that's fucking stupid because like, oh no, I care about like humans. I care about like everyone's rights and want everyone to be treated fairly, no matter what their sex is, their gender, their sexuality, their age, like any of it. Like I just want people to be fair, treated fairly, and it's just so feminist issues are huge, and it's the same with sex workers. Like there's this huge stigma, and it's still like a major problem against prostitutes they're sex workers. Like prostitutes isn't like really a word being used anymore because there's such a negative connotation to it. Like people really think that people who do sex work are less than others because they sell their bodies. But it's like I said before, a model sells her body, an actor sells their body, a laborer sells their body. So many people are selling their bodies. Why is because it's sexual. Why does that make someone less than any of those other people? So that's just always been a huge passion of mine. Also, based on my modeling, I identify as a sex worker 100%. I have my own little website that I run. I upload photos to it. It would be similar to Suicide Girls. There's totally nude content on there. There's totally sexual content on there. And I it's only very recently that I've really become super open about it because I'm like so tired of the stigma. And it's just like, if I lose a job because I'm a sex worker, then I probably don't want to work for those people anyway. You know what I mean? Like I'm able to, and like I'm able to separate like that part of my life from like my professional life. Like it's just, that's a creative outlet that I have. It's a way I make money, and I make good money doing it.
Yeah.
So why would I stop if I enjoy it? And yeah, it's just a service like anything else. Now, I personally don't like do house calls or anything. Solely what I do is photo based, but that's just my comfort level. I have friends who totally are professional dominatrixes who do all different kinds of sex work, and like I don't think of them as any less than me because they choose to do that. Like, I'm going to treat them the same as I treat anyone else. So, and I just think it's really fucking stupid that people will just think less of people because they are in tune with their sexuality and know how to take advantage of it. Like, you know what I mean?
And the way you, I think the thing that stands out for me, especially on Instagram, is the way you use your stories you're not kind of bashing people on the head with it. You're just saying, this is it, and that's it.
That's like something that's very new. And a friend of mine kind of did an Instagram story that really like spoke to me. And it was just like, this is where I'm at now with like all of this social justice warrior stuff, is that like we're at the point now with like the Me Too movement, with all these things coming out. People are getting very overwhelmed, but it's like the information's out there now. Like, if you're going to hate on a trans person, I don't have time for you. Like, I don't have time for racists, homophobes. I don't have time for any of that shit anymore. Like, I'm not going to baby you and try and explain shit to you if you can't get the like memo at this point that you shouldn't be a fucking piece of shit. Then like, if you're going to treat anyone like less than a human being because of anything aside from like, I don't know, maybe being like a sexual predator, like obviously those people are horrible. Yeah. But generally, like even then, I'm still probably not going to like do something really awful to that person because I'm like empathetic and like I can not like what they did, but I'm not going to like spit in their face as much as I would want to. So, yeah, it's just all those issues are just like so important to me. Yeah. But at the same time, like the information's out there. We have the internet. If you can't understand that like humans deserve to be treated like humans, then like I have no time for you at all. Like it's just, I'm over it.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm always looking forward to the next one. So yeah, that's my thing. I'm like, what is that next story?
Them, yeah.
and the little sticker people that you put it.
My gifts.
Yeah, the gifts. Yeah. There's one with this gifts. Old lady. There was one.
Oh, the mansplained lady. Yeah. It's been 0 days since I've been mansplained, and she just goes. And looks. Yeah. And like her look is just so good.
Yeah, I like
that's
that
one of
one.
my favorite ones.
Okay, I'm gonna end it with this though. So what advice you would have for someone, say she's or they, whoever this person is watching this and thinking, or they've been thinking about doing sex work or modeling or whatever it is you do, what advice would you give to the person?
Do research. Don't trust anyone. Like at first glance or whatever. Like really do your research. Ask around. If it has to do with modeling, you really want to like pay pro photographers to get your portfolio off the ground. Working with a pro photographer and spending that money is a huge investment. They will coach you. They will teach you so much in just like 2 hours of shooting. It really, really helps. When it comes to sex work, that's like, be safe. Once again, like try and find a community, like try and find people that you know are involved in it and the people that you trust already that are involved and kind of get your foot in the door that way. And like same with film work too, like all of it is basically just like networking, putting in the work because it's all a lot of work and really just making sure that you're being as safe as possible with both the modeling and the sex work because modeling can be very dangerous too because a lot of people will like to take advantage. So that's like on the serious note. Advice on the fun side is just have fun with it. If you're not confident yet, you will be, and it's a lot of fun.
So, actually, you know, I've been talking about your Instagram all fucking day, and I follow your Instagram, but you know, for the people watching, what are your handles?
My handle is at Kyla_says_meow, all one word. Kyla is Kyla. It's not Kayla, it is Kyla. And that's like basically it. I don't really use much else. I only really use Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. You can find links to any of my other stuff generally on my Instagram too. So I kind of just post there mostly. I keep my Facebook very private, so don't send me a friend request because I will not accept it.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
No
I know
problem.
you actually came in now. You actually have to leave for a thing. You're always busy, man. That's
am.
actually good though, because you're doing what you love, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm happy that I can keep busy. Sometimes it's a little too busy. Sometimes I can get a little burnt, but I've had a good break. Like I just finished a feature, had a bit of stuff on the go just here or there, and now I'm on to my next web series. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Thank you very much, Kyla.
Yeah, no problem.
This is the Blackout Podcast. Thanks for listening.